Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I'm gonna show you guys how you can use Xcode to quickly prototype your app, right? And the kind of prototype that we're gonna be building, it's not like super in detail animations like Framer, like we did in the past, Framer origami. It's more like something along the lines of Marvel or InVision. So basically just having a flow of all of your screens and navigating between your screens, like really simple. And we're going to use no code, even though it's Xcode. We're going to use no code and it's going to be really fast, right? So for this example, I'm going to be using these mockups that I have right here. And this is something that I redesigned. This is the PlayStation iOS app. And the reason I chose this, it's actually for one episode. It's going to be the next episode. I'm going to show you guys how I redesigned this, like the process. But for now, for today, we're going to be using these screens to create our prototype, right? So I'm not going to focus much on the design itself. I'm just going to focus on the prototype part. All right. So yeah, so keep in mind, next episode, I'm going to show you my process that I take when I redesign something. All right, so for this, we have our screens, all right? Imagine that our design is done and now we want to quickly prototype it, either for presentation purposes or, just to feel the flow of your app on an actual device. So you get a sense of how the navigation is going, if things are in the right place, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these screens, we have 5 of them. And I'm going to export this at 1 and at 2x, okay? Just simple PNGs, all right? So I'm going to export these, and I'm going to export them in the desktop. That's fine. There you go. And you can see them right here, all right? And now what we have to do is I'm going to hide this sketch window. Let's open Xcode. Let's see how this thing works. And if you don't have Xcode, you can download Xcode directly through the Mac App Store. And, the reason I didn't do this episode sooner, it's because it's only fairly recently that you can build an app on an actual device without a paid developer account. So I think it's up to Xcode 7 when they reversed that thing. Before Xcode 7, in order for you to build your app on an actual device, you would have to pay for a developer account, right? Not anymore. Now you can build everything on a device. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, any kind of iOS device, you can build your prototype in your actual device. So you can take it with you and play with it and show it to other people, so you don't have it's not mirroring. You don't have to have your iPhone connected, okay? So all right, let's just jump right into it. So this is when you open Xcode, this is the window you get, and for this we're gonna hit this button where it says create a new Xcode project, okay? So this is what we want. So I'm gonna hit that and put this right here. Just tweak the window size a little bit. Okay, so right off the bat, Xcode presents us with some templates, right? Some iOS, watchOS, tvOS, OS X, all these templates. What we want is this single view application, okay? So make sure that's selected and hit next. And here, just give it a name, okay? I'm gonna just type prototype. Organization name, it's whatever. Organization identifier. This is only relevant if you actually want to ship an app. Usually the convention that people use is your website in reverse. So my website is rafaelcon.net, so I put that the other way around, so net.rafaelcon, right? Okay, so for the purpose of this, you don't need to spend much time in here. Language, yeah, let's select Swift. Devices, for this is an iPhone, so I'm going to select iPhone. You could select an iPad or Universal. I'm going to leave this in Xcode. And you can uncheck all of this just for the purposes of this video, okay? So let's hit next. And let's choose a location to save the file. And uncheck this. Again, we don't need a Git repository for this. All right, hit recreate, and we are done. We already have an app. And okay, so if you are not familiar with Xcode, okay, I'm not going to go like really deep about Xcode. So basically, you have the organizer, like all of the files and a bunch of tabs, so you can see like the bugs and stuff here on the left. You have the toolbar on the right, and you have the inspector on. I mean, the toolbar on the top. I'm sorry, and the inspector on the right. Kind of like Sketch, right? All right. So this is the first thing you see. Just let's select here where it says status bar style, because in our mockups we have a status bar, right? It would be actually way simpler just to hide that status bar, but because you probably have a status bar in your mockups, I decided to, go with that scenario. So let's select that, and let's hit default, but let's check this, hide status bar. Okay, I'm gonna select that. Okay, so pretty much that's it for now. So the thing that we really want to spend time in is this little file. It's called main.storyboard. If you don't know storyboards are kind of like, it's like a visual style so you can actually build some elements of your app, and it doesn't need any code, just the storyboard itself. And that's where we are going to create this prototype, okay? So just to get some more room, let's hide this bar right here. And to do that, just hit this little button up here and we'll hide the navigator, okay? Okay. And what you can see here, this is our view controller. Think of view controller as an artboard, okay? And it has some weird proportions, right? This is no iPhone that I'm familiar with. And that's because Xcode uses size classes and auto layout. Like basically instead of you having like an artboard for every device, they have like one view controller or artboard that will morph and adapts to every kind of device, right? That's pretty great, but for the purpose of this video, we don't want that. So let's actually get an iPhone size right here, please. So the way you do that is here on the inspector, let's hit this first element, first item of this tab bar. It's the file inspector, okay? And down here where it says uses size classes, let's uncheck that. They will say, are you sure? And keep the size class data for, let's make sure iPhone is selected. And I'm gonna hit that. So I'm gonna disable size classes. Done. And while you're here, let's deselect auto layout as well. Okay, we don't need that for this particular project. Okay, and now let's select the attribute inspector. And this is for the selected artboard or view controller. And on size, it's inferred. Let's hit that and select an iPhone 4.7 inch, which is the iPhone 6 and 6S, because that's the size that I've designed my mockups. This is ready for an iPhone 6. Okay. All right, so we have that, and that's pretty cool. Let's, you know what? Let's, here on the toolbar, here on the top, you have this play button, right? This is actually to build and run your project. In here, you select the target, like where you want to build it to. So you can see like my name's iPhone. So because I have an iPhone connected to this Mac, actually for now, I don't want to build on my actual device. So let's hit that, and we have some simulators right here. It's pretty cool. So let's select an iPhone 6S, for example. Okay. And if we hit run, build and run, it's going to open the simulator. It takes a while. Depends a little bit on your computer, but here it is. So this is our app. We have an actual app running. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? But we have a status bar right here, right? And that's pretty bad. That's actually not what we want. I found this. I'm going to assume this is a bug. Maybe it's not. But remember that we checked the little checkbox that says to hide the status bar. Well, Xcode is kind of stubborn, and it really don't want to to hide that. So I did some digging, and this is a little bit like a hack that you have to do. Okay, if you want to hide this. Okay, so how you do that is let's show the navigator again, and let's hit the parent file. It's your name, the name of your project, And on the tab info, I have a bunch of stuff, right? Where it says like status bar is initially hidden, it's on yes. So if it's not, make sure it is. But just select that and hit the return key so we can add another one. And just type view controller. Yeah, just start typing and select the one that says view controller base status bar app. Okay, hit return and make sure it's selected to no. Okay, and hopefully if you run again your app, yep, there it is. No status bar. That's what we want. That's awesome. Okay, let's go back to our storyboard and let me hide the navigator again. Okay, so this is where we're going to build our app. So basically what we're going to do, we're just going to add all of our mockups, like the images, add them to the project and just use those images and, you know, transition, navigate between them. Okay, so how we do this? How do we add the images to Xcode? Just drag and drop? Yes, but not here actually. And I'm sorry, I have to bring back the navigator. Xcode has this little thing called assets catalog. Okay, this is where it stores all of your images, all of your assets like icons and stuff. Okay, so select that. And right now we have nothing really. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select all of the mockups that we exported from Sketch. I'm just going to drag them into Xcode. Okay, and Xcode is smart enough to detect that we have 1x and 2x versions of the same image. So it's gonna group them all in this tidy, neatly thing. And it's gonna the name of it is gonna give it the name of the file, right? So this is it. Now we have the images right here. Let's go back to the storyboard. I think this is the last stop. I hope. Okay, so before we start, I just want to show you exactly like what we're going to be working with. So here you're going to have like the layers, kind of like in Sketch. Okay, here's the inspector. Here down below we have the object library. Okay, and this is where you have all the stuff that you're going to use, all the stuff that you need. Like for example, a view controller. As I said, view controllers are kind of like artboards, right? So we're going to need to add more view controllers because we have 5 screens, right? So just drag that to your canvas, right? And there you go. We have a second artboard, okay? Make sure that you select that, and here in the size, make sure to select again the iPhone 4.7 inch, okay? There you go. And I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm just going to add the missing screens, okay? So we can fast forward for that, all right? Let's do that. Okay, so we have our 5 screens, okay? Now what we're going to do, we want to add the images. And you can like search for image and then add that, but here's an easy way. Here on this tab bar on the right, we have the media library, and Xcode is really friendly and is going to give you all the images in the assets catalog. So you already have all of our mockups right here. So what we want to do is you just want to drag, and you have to select the artboard first. You just want to drag the screens. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is PSN. Just drag it there, right? And I'm going to do the same for the next one. So the other one is the Explore, I believe. And then is the Store. There. Notifications. And lastly, you know what? It's the other way around. Notifications, the last one, and the events. That's the one. Okay. We have all of our screens in place, right? And if you can see, we still have this status bar. Even though when you build it, it will not be there. But if you really are OCD with this stuff and you really want to get rid of it, just select all of the view controllers, and here on the status bar, make sure to select none. Okay, cool. Alright, have all our screens. Now what? Let's you know what? Let's actually build our app and see what we have. It's launching, and guess what? We have our screen, our mockups right here. But of course, we can't like click on anything. This is just a bitmap. This is just an image, right? So we can't like transition. So much for that prototype, huh? Well, wait. Okay, so now let's start doing our prototype part of it. Okay. Let's just, before we do anything, let's think this through. What do we need? Okay. iOS, like Xcode, has no idea this is a tab bar, or this is a navigation bar, or this is a button. This is just a bitmap. This is an image, right? He has no idea. So we have to basically create a button, and then through that button say, okay, when you press this, please go to this screen, please. Stuff like that, right? So let's do that. So go back here to your object library, and we want a button, right? So let's use this little search box, and let's type button. Done. We have a bunch of buttons. Bar button item, which actually it is, but let's select this simple button, okay? Again, just drag it into your artboard. And maybe we need to zoom in a little bit, because this is weird. We have a button. In iOS, famously, a button is just a bunch of text, okay? So what we want to do is select that button, just drag it on top of, I'm just going to create buttons in like the links on the tab bar, okay? Just for the sake of it. So I'm going to resize this, and let's double click that to edit the text, and just delete that and press return. Okay, so this is a button with no text, like an invisible button, but it's here. And we want buttons to the rest of the little icons, right? So let's, while holding the option key, let's just click that and drag it to create another one. So I'm going to create one for each tab bar item. Okay, so we now have 4 buttons, and this is how you link screens. Okay, you select a button and you hold the control key, and while holding the control key, just click and drag to another screen. You can see the screen's being like highlighted, right? So release that on top of the screen you want to target, and it's going to ask you what type of seg you want, a push, modal, or a custom. For this example, you need to add the modal. Even though on a real app, a push would be the more, would make more sense, your app is going to crash if you select push, because you need some more information, and for that you need code. So let's select the modal, okay? And you can see this little thingy. If we like put this a little bit further apart from each other, you can see like this is a little connection, right, from one screen to the other. So that's cool. Let's leave at that. And if you select the little seg, you can see here in the inspector, you can see like the presentation and the transition. So you can actually select some kind of transitions. For example, cover, vertical, flip horizontal, cross dissolve, and a partial curl, okay? I think the simplest one for this example, I'm just gonna hit the cross dissolve, okay? So hit that. And that's pretty great. Let's, you know what? Let's build our app and see how's it looking. Launch our app. We have our screen, okay? Let me hide this. Okay, we have our screen, and now if we hit the explore button, hit that, and bam, we made a cross dissolve transition to the other screen. And now I can't go back because I haven't added any buttons to this particular screen, right? But hey, it's working. At least something is. All right, awesome. Let's. I'm gonna do the same. This is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna do the same for all of the other buttons, and I'm gonna then add more buttons to the rest of the screens, so you can, transition between them. Makes sense, right? And it's going to get a little bit boring, so I'm gonna fast forward that. But that's what I'm doing. Nothing new. Okay. So hey, let's. Can we put some music here? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, you know what? I think I've done it. So I again created all the buttons in all the screens, created all the transitions. You can see this is getting a little bit crazy with all the spaghetti thing. I set the transitions all to cross dissolve, right? And you know what? I think that's it. Let's hit play again or run, and let's give it a look at our prototype. And if we hit explore, we get to the screen. If we hit store, bam, bam, bam. You know what? This works pretty flawlessly. What do you think? Right? And if you hit on a simulator, if you hit Command Shift H, it's the same for the home button, right? So we have our app right here. It doesn't have an icon, okay? So you know what? Let's fix that. Let's go back to Xcode. This is not really related to prototyping, but hey, just one extra touch. So let's bring back the navigator and go back to the assets catalog, okay? So here again, we have all our screens. And if you see this first one, which is already here by default, it's called app icon. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward what it is. And you have a bunch of sizes. Okay. So I actually have from my sketch file, I have this other page, which I named it app icon. So I have the icon for all the single sizes that iOS asked for. Actually, we have some extra ones for iPad and stuff. So I'm going to hit the Command HE to export it all. And let's deselect this. I don't need this. I just need the icons. So, like so, okay? So the only ones I have selected are the icons. And I'm going to export this. Let's create a folder and call it app icon on the desktop. I export them all. Let's open that folder. So you have all the icons here, okay? And I'm going to bring back Xcode, and what I'm going to do is, you can see all the sizes for it, right? So I'm just select the appropriate ones and drag it to the right size. So for example, this is iPhone 29 2X. And if you don't know how much is 29 times 2 is 58, okay? Yay. So I'm going to drag that. And you know what? I don't need the 3X because I'm just going to do this for the iPhone 6 and 6S. So the 3X is for the, 6 Plus. So just let's add the 40 times 2, that's 80. I know math. Let's drag that. And the iPhone app 60 times 2, that's 120. I know math. And yeah, you know what? These are the only icons that we need in order for it to work. Okay, so now if we run again our app, okay? This is what we see. See our app, okay, fine, but now we don't want that. And let's just check. Yep, still working, cool. Let's hit Command Shift H again. And hey, we have our app icon. It really looks like an app. And you know what? Let's do an extra fancy, crazy thing, okay? So I'm gonna build this in my actual phone. So we're gonna have like an app, right? So in order for you to do that is here, instead of the iPhone 6S simulator, just select your phone. Now, if you never use your phone on Xcode, maybe it won't appear here. You have to do some extra stuff. I'm going to link in the show notes like a guide how to use your phone in Xcode. If it doesn't work, okay, make sure to hit that. So I have that set up. So I'm going to select my phone, okay, and I'm going to hit run. Just like we did for the simulator, it's exactly the same stuff. Okay, it's installing. Have to unlock it, so I just unlocked it. And hey, I'm gonna do some magic right here. Okay, so wait a second. I'm doing some magic. I'm going out of the computer. Okay, so I am out of the computer. And I have my phone right here, right? And if you check, look at this. We have like an app, an actual app, right? So I'm going to open it, and it's like our prototype. How cool is that? And it's working. How awesome is that? Pretty awesome, right? That's pretty cool. So let's actually get back here. So that's it. If you see, we used Xcode with no code, so just like X. That's it for this episode. I think this is pretty useful and pretty easy, right? How do you feel about it? If you're interested, if you like this, I could extend on some future episodes. What I could do, for example, we could actually in our mockups, we could remove like the tab bar and the navigation bar, and in Xcode itself actually build those tab bars and navigations if you're interested. If not, that's fine. So yeah, again, as I said, next episode I'm gonna explain how, like, what's my process and how I go to redesign apps like this one, PlayStation app, which is awful. So yeah, make sure to tune in next week for that, and I hope you like it. Leave some comments and feedbacks below if you feel like it. Please do. And yeah, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.